Hi. Well, it's a bummer of a night. It's raining, and that means the Rochester Red Wings are rained out again. But we can still do baseball. I'm going to recite a poem to you that I memorized about a fictional baseball character who went from being a hero to a goat on his team. And while I'm reciting it, see if you can sense the roller coaster of emotions that is typical of baseball. It's Casey at the bat, and it was written by Ernest Lawrence Thayer. The outlook wasn't brilliant for the Mudville Nine that day. The score stood 4-2 with but an inning more to play. And when Cooney died at first and Barrows did the same, a sickly silence fell upon the patrons of the game. A straggling few get up to go in deep despair. The rest clung to that hope which springs eternal in the human breast. They thought, if only Casey could get but a whack at that, we'd put up even money now with Casey at the bat. But Flynn preceded Casey, as did also Jimmy Blake. And the former was a Lulu, and the latter was a cake. So upon that desperate multitude, grim melancholy sat, for there seemed but little chance of Casey coming to the bat. But then Flynn let drive a single to the wonderment of all, and Blake, the much despised, tore the cover off the ball. And when the dust had risen and men saw what had occurred, there was Jimmy safe at second and Flynn a hugging third. Well, then from 5,000 throats and more there rose a lusty yell. It rumbled through the valley and rattled in the dell. It knocked upon the mountain and recoiled on the flat, for Casey, mighty Casey, was advancing to the bat. There was ease in Casey's manner as he stepped into his place. There was pride in Casey's bearing and a smile on Casey's face. And when responding to the cheers, he lightly doffed his hat, not a stranger in the crowd could doubt 'twas Casey at the bat. 10,000 eyes were on him as he rubbed his hands in dirt. 5,000 throats applauded as he wiped them on his shirt. And while the writhing pitcher ground the ball upon his hip, defiance gleamed in Casey's eyes, a sneer curled Casey's lips. And then the leather-covered sphere came hurtling through the air, and Casey stood a-watching it in haughty grandeur there. Close by the sturdy batsman, the ball unheeded sped. "That ain't my style," said Casey. "Strike one," the umpire said. Well, from the bleachers black with people, there went up a muffled roar, like the pounding of the storm wave on a stern and distant shore. "Kill him! Kill the ump!" yelled someone on the stands, and it's likely they'd have killed him had not Casey raised his hand. With a smile of Christian charity, great Casey's visage shone. He stemmed the rising tumult. He bade the game go on. He signaled to the pitcher, and again the spheroid flew. But Casey stood there watching it, and the umpire yelled, "Strike two!" "Fraud!" yelled the maddened thousands, and echo answered, "Fraud!" But one scornful look from Casey, and the audience was awed. They saw his face grow stern and cold. They saw his muscles strain. They knew that Casey wouldn't let that ball go by again. The sneer is gone from Casey's lips. His teeth are clenched in hate. He pounds with cruel violence his bat upon the plate. And now the pitcher holds the ball, and now he lets it go. And now the air is shattered by the force of Casey's blow. Somewhere in this happy land, the sun is shining bright. Bands are playing somewhere, and somewhere hearts are light. Somewhere men are laughing, and somewhere children shout. But there is no joy in Mudville. Mighty Casey has struck out. Well, I hope you enjoyed that recital. I dedicate that to the 2014 baseball season, which is just underway. And I encourage you to find that poem and read it aloud yourself. Put your own spin on it. Until next time, happy memorizing.